Hello and once again a very Merry Christmas to all of you. You're listening to Nick RP Green, and today let's talk about Christmas presents, because you never know what you might get. So first of all, I'm just going to be honest for a minute, this is cheating. This video is actually based on a Destructoid blog that I wrote for their Bloggers Wanted section. They wanted to talk about Christmas presents, or well, just presents in general, and I wrote what I'm about to deliver to you. The reason I'm doing this is because I've just moved into a new flat. I've only got my internet back today. I wanted to throw something out before Christmas, and it's been pretty hectic. I haven't had time to do anything, and I haven't had any internet for like just under a week. So I'm going to cheat. As there's no video game associated with this specifically, I do talk about video games, but there isn't a specific one that's related to this. You can have some Legend of the Porro King in the background. How about that? It was pretty fun. So, anyway, let's talk about Christmas presents. Boy howdy, am I glad that it is finally Christmas. It's December. It's now actually December and Christmas is about to be upon us. Take it from someone who works in retail, or rather someone who used to work in retail, someone who used to work in a toy shop at Christmas. Yeah, think about that one for a second. It does feel like it's been Christmas since the end of September. I've already been listening to Christmas songs on repeat since, like, every day for a month. Ugh, I hate Christmas. But humbugs aside, this is the first time I'd ever written a Bloggers Wanted for Destructoid, and it was a lovely subject to be able to write about, the giving and receiving of gifts. These days, giving and receiving video game related items as gifts seems second nature to me. Thanks to the power of the internet, grabbing a video game for a friend online is only a few mouse clicks away. And it's not just the delivery that has been made easier, gift selection in many cases needs very little thought whatsoever. Thanks to Steam, I can scroll through a friend's wish list and find that one game, that one little gem, that is the second cheapest item on their wish list, so I don't look too stingy when I buy it for them on their birthday. Happy birthday, Ray! It's not Fallout 4, but you did say that you wanted it! Heck, as a League of Legends player, gift selection is thrown completely out the window thanks to the godsend that is mystery gifting. Merry Christmas, James! Didn't know which skin you'd get, but I'm sure you'll love it. A Karma skin? That's your favourite, right? This type of gift selection isn't limited to just video games, of course. Most retailers these days are well equipped with gift cards to provide their customers with what my store's wonderful tannoy describes as the gift of choice. I've received about as many gift cards as I've given away, and the Steam gift card is the most common I receive these days, with the occasional game card then being redeemed in store for, of course, another Steam card. But don't think me as being cynical towards gift cards, heavens no. I can't not be grateful to the lovely ladies at my local Bon Marche, that's a women's budget clothes store in the UK, for preparing me numerous wonderfully prepared gift cards, always delivering their service with a smile. Thanks Bon Marche, another Mother's Day saved. Gift cards are a great, convenient way of grabbing a present when you're not sure what to get, particularly at the last minute. Or, if you happen to be my mother listening to this, a fantastic and thoughtful gift from an assuredly loving son. I'm winking right now, you can't see it though. The point I'm slowly getting to is that in 2015, as a 26-year-old independent adult, who still loves his mother very much, yes he does, I've blown it too much. This process of selecting, delivering and receiving presents has become the norm, as has the giving and receiving of video games themselves as gifts. Yes, I do still get physical presents as well, but most of the gift pile tends to be digital or plastic card based, and usually requires me to go and get the actual thing that I want myself. Which is good, now, but that's not how I remember it as a child. In fact, as a kid, I don't recall video games being involved at birthdays and Christmas much at all. Now, when I say kid, I don't mean as a 5-year-old. At age 5 at Christmas, you're not going to receive that one video game that you've been yearning for. You're going to receive the biggest, coolest looking, brightly coloured toy, a toy you may have never heard of before, but are receiving because Dad grabbed it quickly from the toy shop because it was the largest looking toy at the most reasonable price, and guess what? You are going to love it. Why? Because Christmas, new toy, Dad's not at work, Christmas, Giant box, lots of wrapping paper to rip off, bright colours, play with it all day, Christmas. That's why. And incidentally, that's pretty much exactly how I fell in love with Crash Dummies when I was a child in the early 90s. Crash Dummies was awesome, by the way. You crash vehicles into this big wall set, and you launch the dummies through another wall that sort of collapsed apart. There was a taxi as well. The front would crumple when it smashed into something, and one of the dummies that I got even came with a video of the 1993 special. Look at pictures of it on the internet. Look at the 1993 TV special on YouTube. It's fantastic. There's links. There's links in the description. Trust me, there's links. Now, I loved these toys as a kid, but it all started with something that I didn't know what I was going to get. Something about that surprise made it all the more special. Anyway, I started that bit with, now when I say a kid, I don't mean as a 5-year-old. What I actually mean now is more of a teenager, at an age where I was actually keenly interested in video games. The years when video games would stop being just something I did for a bit of fun with my brother and start to become an important part of my life as it is now. For me, even though I was really starting to get into video games, I rarely gave or received games as birthday or Christmas presents. My parents might buy me one on occasion because it was cheap and they thought it'd be something that not only I'd enjoy, but they would enjoy too. And thanks again to Mum and Dad for Klonoa 2 Lunateer's Veil. You liked it, I loved it. One of the best games I've ever played. Anyway, in fact, as I flick through the PS2 games that I still own, only one was bought for me as a birthday present, and that was years later as more of a retro gift. By the time I got this, I already owned a PS3. In fact, I can only recall 2 Christmases where I received a video game as a present, and you'll see why they are important in the context of this discussion. So the first was bought for me by my parents in the year 2000, when I was 11 and my brother was 9. I remember my nana and her partner, my granddad had died a number of years earlier, they were visiting for a few days over Christmas, and at that age, having the grandparents over at Christmas was still really special, but also much better than having to spend Christmas at their house. This was also the last Christmas for a long time that neither me nor my brother would know what our main present was going to be at Christmas, because after this, Christmas was used as a way to get us useful things that we needed, like musical instruments, our own TVs and hi-fis for our rooms, and computer monitors for our PCs. So we come to open our main present. Reasonably sized box, not big but reasonable. We were told we had to open them at the same time, so clearly we were both getting the same thing. So from the info provided, you can probably guess what we got. So it's year 2000, video game related, one each, not overly big. Yep, that's right. A Game Boy Color each. Mine came with Donkey Kong Country and my brother's came with Donald Duck Quack Attack. And we had no idea. Not one clue or hint had been dropped. We hadn't been asked. We hadn't even said that we wanted one, or at least I don't think we had. And come to think of it, that Game Boy Color is probably the best Christmas present I've ever received. I'd already stopped believing in Santa at this point, but thinking back to that Christmas now, opening that present was magical. It was the best surprise on the best day from the best people. And then my dad produced an unopened pack of batteries. I repeat, magical. So, thank you, Mum and Dad. Now the second, I can't work out the exact year, but it must have been when I was about 13 or 14, so somewhere around 2002, 2003. By this point, my family had a PS2, and I was in secondary school, and I had a girlfriend. I was only 13 or 14, so obviously nothing deeply loving, romantic or sexual, but I had a girlfriend nonetheless. And between me and my brother, my girlfriend's family decided that they were going to get us PS2 games for Christmas. We got 3. This was pretty cool on its own merit. As I said, I didn't receive many video games as gifts, so 3 all at once was pretty awesome. The first 2 games, which were The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and The Simpsons Road Rage, were pretty good, they were unexpected, and they were pretty fun. But the third one's the important one. Now, not in the context of Christmas presents at all, but just as part of some normal conversation that we'd had about games, I at one point said to my girlfriend that I really liked the look of Ratchet and Clank, and I probably suggested that I would try and get it one day. She clearly remembered this, because the third game that we received was Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy. And I remember looking at it, slightly disappointedly, thinking, she's been really thoughtful and tried to get me something I'd told her that I'd like, but she picked the wrong video game. I was grateful, I was really happy to have a new game to play, but at the same time I was slightly disappointed. But it's what happened when I played it that makes it really special. I loved it. At the time, I'd heard of the game, but didn't really know anything about it, and it was great. As I'm sure many of you will agree, the first Jak and Daxter game is fantastic. It's one of the best platformers of all time. I fully completed that game. I found every precursor orb, every relic, 100% completion, and in fact it might be the first game I ever deliberately went out of my way to fully complete. And to this day, I've never owned, nor finished, I've played, but not finished, the first Ratchet and Clank. Once again, that surprise, that sense of the unknown, made what was already a good present even better in the end. So thank you, Gemma. Now, I think that a combination of not receiving many video games at Christmas as a kid and the surprise and delight I experienced at something I didn't know I was going to get or was completely unexpected is what made those moments memorable for me. I can't actually remember opening and receiving many of the presents. I just remember having the item. But these two in particular I can specifically remember opening, holding and being excited about, because it didn't happen very often, and it was a really nice surprise. And I don't get that as much as an adult. My current girlfriend tries very hard to emulate that experience, and she does do a very good job. They tend to be gaming related. She's bought me a Master Chief helmet, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual Disc, Atlas and Peabody figures, to name just a few. However, we did get to a point where last year at Christmas, I went to our Royal Mail office to pick up some missed post, and because one package addressed to her had been sent in Jinx packaging, the clothes store and merchandising store, Jinx, because it had been sent in a Jinx bag, I knew exactly which t-shirt she'd bought me. Now, with Steam wishlists and gift cards being more convenient, you do lose something special that you'd only get from buying a physical item that you can open. I guess also because I'm a lot more knowledgeable about games in general, I'm more likely to know stuff about a game or gaming item that I receive. I loved the items that I've mentioned that my girlfriend got me, but as soon as I opened them, I knew exactly what they were, what they did, and what they meant, because I already knew those kind of items existed. I still love them today, though. They are really great gifts. So thank you, Adele. Okay, let's wrap this up, shall we? That's a great Christmas pun. Great pun. I'm not suggesting that we all drop giving out gift cards or making digital purchases online. They're damn convenient and still extremely thoughtful. Lots of people would prefer a gift card to spend on what they know they'll like than end up having a Christmas present they don't like or already have. Some people will love that their Steam library just got that little bit bigger, or perhaps you just got them that game that they weren't sure whether they were going to buy or not, and you just took that decision out of their hands. Now they have a brand new game to play. Everybody wins. What I will say is this: if you have a wishlist on Steam or Amazon or wherever, get adding to it. If you haven't already, well, it's probably a bit late for that now, but because it does take a lot of pressure off of those who just can't think about what you might want. And if you can, maybe find that extra time to get someone, even if it's just one person, something really special, something they'd never expect, something they didn't even know existed. Be prepared to watch their eyes light up on December 25th. But not something digital, something that they can see wrapped up, make guesses about depending on its weight and its size, something they can then unwrap, feel in their hands and see that it's real. And maybe play with the box afterwards. Find joy and delight in the gifts that you receive. Be grateful, no matter how crummy you might think something is. You never know how much joy you might get from it. Make someone's Christmas special, particularly if it's a child, especially if it's a child, because they'll remember it well. Trust me, I used to work in a toy shop. Thank you very much for listening to this very special Christmas video from me. No competition for this one. I'll do another competition after Christmas. My previous competition didn't go down very well because no one actually listened to the instructions I gave at the end of the video. So if you haven't watched my previous video about Paladins and you do want to try and win a Paladins beta key, just listen to the last minute of the video, because that'll tell you what I want to hear in the comments. Thank you very much for listening, and I won't see you before Christmas. Hopefully I'll see you again before New Year, because I have something coming up for then. But as I won't see you before Christmas, have a very Merry Christmas, and thank you very much. Till next time.